Welcome! My name is Kelly.
My name's Jamie.
And this is Fanimated, an animation fan podcast where we get a chance to geek out about our favorite animated media. Today we're talking about Sk8 the Infinity, the amazing anime of the year. Truly, probably one of my favorites, if not my absolute favorite new anime of the year. Before that, I think you might notice something different about the podcast.
What? That's crazy. That couldn't be. No, everything's fine. Everything's normal.
Everything's fine. Everything's normal. Except we've got this lovely new music and a lovely new logo. That you might have noticed. And I just so happened to draw the logo per usual. Very excited about it. And I talk a lot about it on Patreon. So definitely go head over there.
Check that out. Oh, yeah.
And then this beautiful new Fanimated specific, just for us, theme song was written by none other than...
Who wrote that? That sounds ridiculous. It's way too bloopy and electronic and weird. I don't like it. 0 stars.
I personally give it 5 stars.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Jameson Krause, give yourself more credit.
Oh, man.
This is a beautiful, wonderful, fun, upbeat, special intro. And I think you did a really great job, and I love it.
Oh my gosh, thank you. This is, This has been in the works for a while, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, so that means a lot. Thank you so much.
Yes. I had been thinking about doing kind of a rebranding like this for a long time, and it became one of my New Year's resolutions for 2021. And so, I don't remember when I first introduced the idea to you, Jamie, of writing a theme song, but it was early this year, like maybe February, or was it earlier?
I think I was looking through, there was a day where I was just curious exactly how long it had been, and I was looking through the messages. I think it was January.
Oh, wow.
But I did not actually seriously get work started on it until like March, so... So there was a long gap of me saying, yeah, sounds great, and then not starting it.
That's why I think of things in advance.
That was a good call. Yeah, that was definitely a good call.
So we've been working on that. I say we, mostly you. You've been working on that off and on all year.
There's creative feedback. There's a committee of development. I'm trying to think of all of like the buzzwords of team building and projects.
Collaboration.
Exactly, collaboration, yeah.
Oh dear. But it's very special having a specific intro just for Fanimated that is nowhere else but right here, and you put a lot of great work into it, and so I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. So thank you, Jamie.
Man, thank you. Yeah, that does make me happy. I'm really thrilled with how this whole process turned out. So,
yay! Awesome.
Yeah.
And now we Fanimators get to enjoy this beautiful music for who knows how long? Another 3 years?
Yeah.
So, if you want to hear more about the theme song, Jamie and I have a bonus episode on Patreon,
yes.
Where you can listen to the process and what we were thinking about when we were creating it, and all of that other fun, juicy behind-the-scenes stuff. So, again, that's patreon.com/Fanimated for all those behind-the-scenes sneak peeks.
The magic behind the curtain. Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's not a phrase, but whatever.
It is now.
Sure.
But let's get into the meat of this episode. Like I said earlier, Sk8 the Infinity is
Sk8 the Infinity.
Probably my favorite new anime of the year.
Oh my goodness.
And I think this starts what I'd like to call a whole series of podcast episodes entitled Gay Anime with Jamie.
Okay. That was funny, but also I laughed because I was thinking about this. You recommended this show to me with a hearty, like a glowing review, right?
Yeah.
Also, around that same time, someone else, in this case, Lowell, someone else texted me like, "Dude, I just finished watching Sk8 the Infinity. This might be as gay as Yuri on Ice." And I was just like, I'm sold. Like between those two recommendations, yeah. Like, what else do I need? What am I waiting for? Yeah.
Yeah. I am glad that Lowell is a mutual friend of ours. I'm glad that he also was pushing you in this direction because I cannot believe we haven't talked about Yuri on Ice yet on the podcast, but that's one we have to talk about.
Shoot.
I mean, we need to talk about so many. Carol and Tuesday. Oh, Given. I still haven't watched Given. It's on my list,
yeah.
I promise. And I'm on a tangent. We'll get to Sk8 the Infinity in a second. But have you watched Strangers on the Shore yet?
Kelly, I just watched that like 3 days ago. I'm not even joking. Oh my Lord.
God.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think I was on Funimation because I had just finished watching the final episode. And like I was back on the homepage and that just popped up because Funimation knows what I'm into pretty much. And I think I started watching it that night and then I watched the rest like the next day. And I hadn't texted you about it because I didn't know if you knew about it yet, but I was absolutely planning to bring it up at some point. So I'm astonished that you just happened to mention that now. Wow.
Of course. I watched it like the day it came out because I
Okay.
kept seeing things about it. I was like, I need to watch this. Where is this? And I was like, oh, it hasn't come out yet. Then I watched it when it came out. This is not a what you're watching episode.
Yeah.
So we won't go super deep into that.
Right.
But that's just another example of all of the gay anime we need to talk about.
Of course.
So I have a running list, so don't you worry. But for
Excellent.
for today,
Right.
Sk8 the Infinity came out this winter, earlier this year, and it is an anime original. So it was not based on anything. Original story, original everything.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. There's no manga? Whoa, okay.
There is a manga now, of course.
Oh, there is, okay.
The anime is successful, and then they made a manga.
This feels so backwards. It's like when a movie gets novelized into a book.
I know. What is this world we live in? It's produced and animated by Studio Bones, so nothing to say there. Everything they do is amazing. So can't complain about that. This is maybe, the only time where I highly encourage people to make sure to watch the English dub version.
Yes. Cannot agree enough. Yes, the dub version.
And I just wanted to make sure I said that right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Because
my next warning is spoilers. We're going to be talking about the show and all the details. And so if you haven't watched it yet, please it's 12 episodes or whatever.
Yeah.
Go watch it. English is the best.
Oh, yeah.
Because they use so much like slang and like casual term, like it's hilarious. It's perfect.
Yeah. Not necessarily not like fully all the way improv, but I did definitely hear that their VAs had a lot more leeway than usual with like what wording to use and how to deliver it in various ways.
Oh man, do you have any favorite English dub translations?
Oh my gosh, where to begin? Nothing is coming to mind except the. Well, no, I can't say that one on Fanimated. Shoot.
Oh yeah. Oh man, language. Well, just trust us then. So, spoiler warning. Let's get into basic synopsis. It's a sports anime. So we have fiery redhead Reki, who is a skater. Yes. And he is extremely loud and passionate about skateboarding, just like you would expect. Of
course.
Of a sports protagonist.
Yeah, and especially a sports protagonist who happens to be a redhead. Like, there's a definite trope there, and it's
sure.
what you'd expect, yeah.
And then a new classmate moves to Japan, Langa, and he is the, flip side of the coin to Reki. So he's the quiet,
very serious,
serious, reserved kid.
Blue hair,
and
so
blue hair. You got the blue and the red. That's usually what happens.
There's always a blue and a red. Yep.
And Langa is an exchange student from Canada. Exchange student. Well, he's just moved there with his mom.
Right.
After his dad has passed away. And he used to snowboard in Canada with his dad. And now he's stuck in Japan and he doesn't, he can't snowboard and he's sad. And he runs into Reki, and Reki immediately is like, you should try this skateboard. And so Langa ends up learning how to skateboard with Reki. And it's their relationship journey, and also this is the wild part. There is a secret skater race that happens at night in an abandoned mine, and so all these skaters race each other, and it's like a deadly race. Okay?
Oh yeah,
it's like no rules, anything goes. And all of these professional adults dress up and pretend to be other personas during this race, and then they go to their normal day jobs during the day.
Right. It's the combination is so funny to me because I was thinking, how in the world are you going to describe this plot synopsis? Because it is partially these two high schoolers who are just pursuing skateboarding, and their friendship is getting closer, and they're just growing up. But also, it's a show about this absolutely bonkers, insane, death cult run by the richest shadow millionaires in Japan, who have all of their own little schemes, and they control the police, and they
it's crazy.
And the show just hops from one to the other like it's no big deal. Yeah, it's so wild.
It's wild. So of course, Langa gets swept into the race and totally does amazing, because somehow snowboarding skills translate over to skateboarding skills almost one for one. But of course, Langa becomes the skateboarding superstar of the area. And of course, he's caught the eye of Adam, the...
Oh, my lord, yeah.
the Hisoka of this anime, and he is the one in charge of the race, and he's finally someone good enough to beat into a pulp, basically.
For a worthy opponent, yeah.
Yeah. And so, of course, there's a lot more going on than that, but that's the basic synopsis.
Yeah.
We've got our crazy cast of characters, besides Langa and Reki, and they all just go on this little journey together. And, of course, ultimately there is some interesting, overarching political things, I think, but most of it is mostly about Reki and Langa.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And their relationship. So to start out, let's just talk about Reki and Langa. Let's start with characters.
Yes.
Start with them, because they're amazing.
Oh, definitely. I would probably Reki's my favorite for sure. I'm such a fan.
Yes.
The first thing you get of Reki is what's obvious and on the surface, which is that he's excitable. He loves skateboarding. He's just got this very very, very shonen protagonist-esque, I just love life and I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful, especially in a sports anime that isn't necessarily all about competition, because he doesn't the most important thing is not beating other people. It's just he can skate alone, and he's just absolutely thrilled and fine, at least at the beginning.
Yeah.
he doesn't want to skate alone necessarily by the end of the show, but
yeah.
But I'm such a big fan of how things change and move for him. I mean, I guess we can just jump right into it, because
I say go for it.
Things change for him quite a bit as soon as Langa as soon as Langa really comes into his own and starts becoming like a good skateboarder, right? And the rest of the universe, as far as they're concerned, the rest of the whole skating world is stunned by Langa and amazingly impressed by him and following his every move in a way that they absolutely don't with Reki, right? And it was really rough to see how much that hurt him. And like, I don't think it was something he was expecting to happen, and I don't think his reaction to it was something he suspected either, because he gets really depressed. And that was like brutally hard to watch, especially for a character who's so happy-go-lucky at the beginning, you know?
That's what I love about this anime, is that it really twists things on its head, because you assume, this is going to, you assume Reki is going to be the, Haikyuu Hinata of this anime. And he is that positive, excited, determined character. But, watching, teaching Langa and then seeing Langa surpass him so quickly and become the star, and it really hurts Reki, and suddenly he's the one that's becoming withdrawn, and he steps away. And like, I really, really love that switch, and whereas Langa is the one who's jumping into things, the Langa is the one who isn't thinking before doing, they totally take these two like anime character tropes and they switch it on you. They completely switch it. And I love that. And I love Reki too. Like, usually in these types of anime, like, Langa would be my favorite, and I love him to death, don't get me wrong, but Reki is my favorite character.
Right.
Because of all that he goes through,
Mm-hmm.
And it's relatable too, because like, everyone has different the inborn talent, and there's obviously a lot to say about like hard work and the time it takes to develop a skill. And I think that, ultimately is, even more important. But like, no matter what, skill you do, what hobby you have, there are going to be people who are better than you and who learn faster than you and who are going to pass you. There's always going to be someone who's doing better than you. And it's even harder when that person is your best friend.
Yeah, 100%.
/ boyfriend.
Yeah. That's such a wild, like, well, I was going to say it's unusual for a sports anime, but the truth is I don't know, because this is still only like the second one that I know, pretty much. But it seems like such a wild thing to put into your sports story, where usually it's just like, I'm going to do my absolute best and I'm going to keep pushing my limits and I'm going to go all the way and I'm going to be the best. And like, to have multiple characters sit down and seriously consider the question, like, at what point do you stop because you're going to get hurt? Or at what point do you stop because talent-wise you cannot surpass this other person? And like, treat it seriously, because that's a real thing he has to sit down and think about. I kind of love that he can't solve all his problems by just trying harder forever and we win and that's the end. Because like, there's many scenes where you can tell just from the way they set it up, he can't quite get to that level. There's one scene that absolutely kills me where I think it's under that bridge or like the overpass where Langa did this crazy jump. There was like, I'm gonna go down the hill at high speeds, go off this little ramp, and like mark the highest point he got, right? Like, he had something on his hand that he stuck on the concrete, and Reki's just like, I'm gonna match it. I don't care if I have to try this 30 times in a row, I'm gonna do it. And he does try it like 30 times in a row, and he doesn't get it, and it sucks to watch. It's so brutal.
Because here's the thing. We are always fed this idea that you really can be whatever you want to be, and if you work hard enough, you can achieve what you want. The truth is you can't. Like, I know that's not like the optimistic idea or whatever, but like, Reki is just realizing, I mean, not that he won't ever get there, but like,
right.
There are some things certain people can or cannot do. And that's just like the truth of the matter. And it is crazy, yeah, that this is a sports anime that isn't about teamwork and determination.
Right.
It's about friendship and having fun. The whole through line of the anime is like, what, why are you skating? Why am I doing this? Is it to win? Is it to, be the best? Or is it to have fun? And that's what Reki has to learn throughout the season. But watching him is like, and like that scene you said, like he tries and tries and tries, and you feel that because we've all been there, and like we can't match someone in skill level, and it hurts, and it's like so relatable, and it's why I love this anime so much.
The having fun theme kind of trumping this I need to be the best theme, like that first one kind of overcoming that second one. That was I love the way they set that up as, how to put this, the way they set it up as something he kind of used to know but sort of forgot. And not even just Reki, almost a lot of the other characters, honestly. Like, they sort of frame it as, if you weren't having fun, you wouldn't have started this in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
You can get so caught up in the specifics of, I need to be exactly this good or beat this person or win this race, that when that doesn't happen, like, it can take the very reasonable, I guess I'm not quite as good as them, but that's fine because I still do what I love and I'm still having fun. It can take that and turn it into, well, I shouldn't be doing this at all because I'm not good enough,
Yes.
And to a point, that's what happens, because he does give up for a while. And that's even worse to watch because, like, as someone who's watching this show, you know that Reki is a skateboarder, and it is so weird to see him not doing that. It's just
it hurts.
He's just walking around, and you're just like, this is wrong. You're moving too slowly. You should be, like, zipping everywhere.
Yes.
It's so
man.
sad, yeah.
And it's true because, like, that's his mindset. His mindset is, I have to be really good to do this. And so then when he realizes he's not the best, and he stops. And so, and what I love, of course, is that he does end up in a race where he just, finally decides just to have fun and be himself.
Yes.
And
my Lord.
He literally just, like, jumps off a cliff.
Yeah.
Because he thinks it would be fun.
That's right. Oh my God. Before that one, I think I texted you, like, Reki has been going through so much, and, like, finally the implication that he's going to start skating again was, like, so satisfying. It's so great. And they set up that race, and of course it's against Adam, which is insane, and we'll get to him later. But like, of course it's against Adam, so it's this insanely huge race, and everyone is wilding out about it. They're like, Adam's racing this nobody who, like, quit for a while. What's going on? And I was thinking, like, if Reki wins this race, I'm gonna cry. Like, this has been such a journey, and this is gonna be so satisfying. But he doesn't actually win. He gets super close. He does an incredible job. I'm so proud of him. My boy, absolutely the best. I loved every minute of it. He doesn't quite win. He just loses by a tiny bit. And I was like, wow, that was satisfying. That was a great race. I loved it, even though he didn't win. And then you see how, like, angry Adam is because he's been so intent on winning this race. He's so, like, just 100% tunnel vision about it. So even after the race is over, he's, like, not happy. He is very, very, he's all over the place emotionally, right? And then you see Reki, who's still on the ground because he crashed at the end, and he's laughing, and he doesn't even say anything about how the results ended up. He just says, that was so much fun. And that's when I started crying. That's when I could not handle that, because I was so, I didn't expect, I should have, because that was the whole point, but I didn't expect it, and it really got me. And I was just like, this might be one of my favorite characters ever.
Ever. It's so true. It's just so emotional because it's not all about winning. He lost, but he is still so happy, and the crowd is excited for him, and Langa is so proud of him, and it's just so precious.
Yeah, that was so great.
Yeah, we love our boy Reki and his journey.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Langa.
Langa! Good Lord. Okay.
He is so serious all the time, and yet he's crazy.
I really like how you put it earlier in how they subvert what you're expecting. And it's not complicated. Really, all they did was make one of them have big expressions and the other one have, like, more muted expressions. And that was all it took to make everyone assume, oh, I got this. Red number 1 is gonna be off the wall and goofy. Blue number 2 is gonna be super quiet. Duh. So that when that doesn't happen, and it turns out that Langa is, like, the most reckless, incredible, ridiculous person who has, like, several times almost gotten himself in serious danger, and he jumps off of things you're not supposed to jump off. And when that happens, you're so not ready for it. Because he's just like this stoic, quiet dude, and then he's just like, I am going to put my life in all of the danger for no reason.
No reason. Oh, he's crazy, and
it's the best.
It's so good. Oh, man. And it's just like, scenes that he's in, he just brings so much humor that I love.
Oh yeah.
Just with those, straight expressions and the I can't even explain it. It's just like even the little Canadian-isms that are so funny. And I love them.
He looks and sounds very serious, which is especially funny in situations that aren't serious. I think is the way.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, I love that.
When he's first learning to skateboard, and he just, like, has this pose, and he has, like, his arms outstretched, and he's just, like, looking very intently forward, and then he just says, "But push me." And they're like, "What?" He's like, "Please push me."
That's it. It's so good. It's so funny.
Oh yeah, big fan.
Oh man. And Langa, of course, in his journey, he's just like, getting so good so quickly, and he's so thankful to Reki, and still looks up to Reki even when he's kind of surpassed him in level, like, because Reki's the one who taught him how to skate, and like they've created, such a deep bond, and Langa, he is he gets kind of sidetracked into that what Adam calls, like, the zone, like when you're in the zone with or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And Langa kind of gets pulled into that, but then Reki basically reminds him that it's about having fun. Yeah. And it's the sweetest moment the end during that final race. But another part of Langa's journey in skating is, like, it just, like, has, like, this love for it, and when he first skateboards, like, what happens in that first race is, he basically gets thrown into this race. He doesn't know what he's doing. He duct tapes his feet to the skateboard, and he skates as if he was a snowboarder. Yeah. But he, like, skates, and then he feels like he's snowboarding again, and ultimately, like, that's what he's trying to chase after, is this feeling he gets when he gets to skate, and, like, he feels like he's snowboarding, and ultimately you find out it's kind of because it feels like it did when he got to snowboard with his dad, and now he gets to skate with Reki, and so it's like it's companionship and love, and it's really sweet and wholesome.
It caught me off guard a few times, because I think this was the final big race where there was a moment where they were talking about the zone again, and how he's just, like, at such a high level that he is kind of losing track of things around him and even his own feelings, and his inner monologue is like, I don't feel anything right now, like, my heart isn't racing like it used to. And when he breaks out of that because the theme of, like, fun and doing this because you want to do it, when that theme comes back and that breaks him out of it, I was all snide, because I was like, oh, it's going to be about Reki, it's going to be a gay moment I can make fun of again. And instead he's just like, oh, it feels like when I was with my dad. And I'm just like, God, now I'm crying again. Like, man, I wasn't ready for this. I thought I knew where we were going, and then it caught me off guard, and now I'm sad. Like, it's such
so good.
Langa's whole, I mean, just like you were saying, his whole setup of getting to that elite level and then having the the conflict between being that good and what Adam wants and how he cares about Reki and his complicated memories of, like, this kind of racing, or this kind of sport, rather, with his dad, and, like, that whole reason they moved in the first place. Like, all of those things coming together, it makes for such a good, such a satisfying journey for him, because as he keeps racing, these things come to a head, obviously, near the end of the show, and for him to not overcome exactly, because it's not like he's getting over his dad or something like that, but developing through all these issues is really great, because something similar is happening with Reki, and for both of them to get to that moment where they can keep growing and keep growing up, more or less, for both of them to be able to do that is so great, and I love it to death. That was really wonderful.
Oh, I love it so much. I love them and both of their journeys, and it's so good. And like, another part that I love too is that, like, for Reki, it's, you know, like I said, it's really hard because not only is someone so much better than him, it's someone he cares about a lot, and then you see the other side of the coin, like Langa, like, really, really misses him when he's not around, and, like, you know, it's bad for him. It's bad for both of them.
Absolutely, yeah.
But also, like, you know, what do you do in that situation where you have more talent than someone you care about? And you know what I mean? It's kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know. It just brings up so many, like, personal memories. I feel like we've always all been through that, like, on both sides of that, and it's really challenging. It's a really hard, complicated place to be in a relationship, and, like, I've just never seen any media explore this thing that I feel like most people go through at some point.
It's such a good setup for a conflict between two people who really care about each other. Partially because I think that's not done well a lot. Like, these two people are great friends, and then something really dumb happens that makes them have a misunderstanding, and they just fight for a while, and then they apologize and get over it. And, like, that's not what I wanted. But, like, this setup, you mentioning the whole thing about, like, just not being on the same level necessarily, and, like, that's something that the other characters talk about a lot, which makes Reki feel even worse. Like, there's the problem of that happening. I think one thing that makes it even stronger for their conflict is, like, I'm just now remembering their big argument and why it got me so much. And it's partially because of that, but it's also because, like, and this is going into some other aspects of the show a little bit, it's just dangerous. Like, not only the course itself, but racing against Adam at all for a couple other reasons. People have, like, been put in the hospital, right? Because Adam's insane. And when they finally have their argument about this, and Reki isn't just saying, like, oh, I'm jealous. He's not just saying, like, oh, I feel like we've drifted apart because of you have this crazy skill level. He's first and foremost saying, don't do this. I don't want you to die. And Langa is saying, no. He's kind of just saying, like, I'm gonna I feel like I need to. I feel like I have to. And because that's so... I'm sure to Langa at the time that seemed reasonable, because, like, that's what they were training for. That's what they were trying to get better for. Like, he loves racing. He loves competing. But to Reki, that seems like such a slap in the face of, I don't want you to get hurt, and you are telling me that you don't care how I feel about that. And, like, that sucks, right? Like, that was so hard to watch. So, of course, he gets mad and, like, runs away, and it's raining, and there's sad music and everything. But, like, it's such a good setup. I was blown away.
Oh, it hurts so much, because you understand both perspectives. And, like, it goes back to the whole theme, right? Like, why are you skating? Like, why is Langa skating? Like,
because in that moment, it's not for fun.
It's not for fun at that moment. No, and it hurts Reki. Yeah, because, like, it should be enough. It basically, you know, to be cheesy, it should be enough that Reki and Langa get to skate together. And what Langa is doing, because here's part of Reki's backstory, is that he had a very good friend who did get really hurt skating and couldn't skate again. And so basically what Reki is saying, not only I care about you and I don't want you to get hurt, but if you do this, we could never skate together again, because you could get hurt and you might never be able to skate with me again.
Right.
So that's like the layer of it where it's like, and then Langa is saying that this race is more important than him being able to skate with Reki. And that's a problem, because that's their whole thing. Their whole thing is, I want to skate with you for infinity.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
yeah. I think I think there's even a bit where, like, once he's made it very clear that he's gonna still do the race, there's even a bit where Reki, like, kind of looks at him for a sec, and then he has this awful moment where he realizes, like, you and Adam really are a completely different, like, you're not like me, are you? And, like, I don't necessarily think that's true, but at the moment, all signs point to yes, right? Because, like, everything in this conversation has pointed towards Reki, like, realizing, wow, we are not even the same kind of person. Like, we can't be we can't really truly be friends because we're so different and, like, we want such different things. And I think he's wrong about that, but at the time I cannot blame him for thinking that. And that was that was especially rough. Oof. We're jumping all over the place time-wise. Because, like, we talked about the ending and how it all resolved.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We just want to dive into the characters. Speaking of, let's talk about the rest of the skating gang.
Yes. Excellent.
We've got Cherry and Joe, the two so-called adults. And then we have Mia.
Yeah, I think it's Mia. Yeah.
Mia.
Yeah.
And he's the prodigy school kid. Gonna be is part of, I don't know, fancy schmancy, like, officially, like, basically a pro.
Yeah, they talk
skater.
about the Japanese national team, and I don't necessarily know. I know that has to do with, like, international competitions, but I don't really know much beyond that.
I don't know anything. Maybe he's at the Olympics this year.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Like, you're watching the Olympics and suddenly someone shows up with, like, cat ears and a tail, and you're just like, what that's not what I was expecting.
What's happening? Yeah.
Shadow. I'm a big fan of Shadow.
Shadow. Yes. Shadow is the, like, he plays the bad guy, you know, and he, like, has this crazy face makeup, and he, like, does all the mean cheater things, like throwing, little, like, flash bombs and, little things to, like, really mess up his opponents.
Which is just horribly dangerous and, like, life-threatening. And people treat it like, oh, that goofy Shadow, he's always doing weird stuff. And I'm just like, he could have killed someone.
And then, like, during the day, he just works at a flower shop and he's in love with the manager.
He's just a normal dude. It's so good. Okay, to talk about Shadow for a bit. Shadow is, like, you see him, I think, in episode 1, and he's a pro wrestler, right? He is, like, in this little skating community that, like, meets a bunch of nights, and they always do this crazy race, and there's always tons of people watching. He is, like, the bad guy pro wrestler who messes stuff up and plays this persona and has tons of fans because he's the crazy one, he's the dangerous one. And, like, I watched that first episode, and I thought, like, this was a pretty funny side character. Like, this has been pretty good. Like, he's goofy. He's always yelling. His face makeup looks like Kiss from back in the day. Like, this was good job. And then he comes back during the rest of the show, and you realize he's just this normal dude who just has a kind of weird way of letting off steam. And he has, like, his own actual life and a girl he likes and, like, a part-time job. And he's not that much older than the other cast, but they all keep calling him old man and stuff, and he's just like, I'm 24.
Like, he becomes all the kids, like Reki and Langa and Mia. He becomes their dad.
He's their dad, yeah.
Like, he's the one driving them places.
Yeah.
And, like, keeping an eye on them.
He ends up being more of an adult than Joe and Cherry because they're also ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, way more of an adult. He is the adult in this family situation. Yeah, speaking of, Cherry is a calligrapher, like fancy schmancy Japanese calligrapher. And Joe is like big, muscly.
Oh, yeah.
Like girls are. Well, the girls swoon over both of them.
That's true. That is
true. They both have their fangirls. But Joe works as a chef at a fancy restaurant. So. And the two of them are old friends, and were friends with Adam when Adam created S. The S is what the race is called. But, you know, there's a whole bunch of history there, and you learn about all of them.
Right.
But, like, Joe is... it's just like, you know, Joe and Cherry have this little rivalry / flirtation going on.
It could not be more obvious. I should probably take now to say that, like, when I talk about how gay this show is, I don't want to make it sound like it is on the same level as Yuri on Ice, where they're like, this is an actual big moment. Like, the characters are literally canon gay. What a fantastic moment for gay anime fans, right? This is finally happening. This is technically not that, because technically the characters are not confirmed anything, right?
Yeah, technically.
But, that said, this is the gayest thing I've ever seen, because... Yeah. Every single VA is like leaning into it hard, and it is so funny.
I'm telling you, watch the English dub.
Oh, the English dub, you guys. Like, Reki and Langa do a little bit of flirting, and there's some especially funny moments that I really like, but Joe and Cherry are like in a competition to see who can do the most flirting. It is so good. It's so dumb, but it's so good.
It's so good. It's so good.
But yeah, Joe is like, the both of them are so, they just mock each other constantly, but in only the way you can only really have when you have two people who like deeply have known each other for a long time and really do care about each other and know that they would never actually truly insult each other, you know? Like, not in a way that really matters, but they've been each other's like number one guy for so long that they will constantly just rip each other apart, and it's so funny. They're just both dorks.
Oh, I mean, everyone in the show.
Everyone in this show is
dorks.
a dork. Yeah.
Everyone.
Oh my goodness.
And Cherry also, like, one of his defining features is that he has a skateboard
is Carla
is named Carla, and she's basically like a electronic skateboard. Yeah. He's basically Iron Man with his skateboard. Right?
She's an Alexa, but like on a skateboard, right?
Yes.
So like, he'll just be like, Carla, how far exactly is the turn up ahead, or like how many milliseconds is he ahead of me in this race? Or like, Carla, go over and knock Joe over for no reason because I think he's being dumb, and she'll do it. She absolutely does it. Yeah. Oh,
it's so funny. Yes, and whereas Joe's skating style is much more big himbo man.
Yeah. Joe's everything is just big himbo man. Like, how he acts, how he talks to people. It's so funny.
So good. And then we mentioned Mia, the young skater.
Okay. I actually do have some thoughts on Mia.
Great.
I think Mia in particular is hilarious, and it's not for a reason I realized right away. It's because Mia is, especially in the first part of the season, Mia is convinced that he's like the bully antagonist in like a different kind of show. He's convinced he's like the rival who you'll hate, and he's just gonna constantly be better than you, and like he thinks that. But everyone else in the cast is just like, no, we love you. You're our best friend. And he's just like...
Yes, again, this show is like taking the tropes and turning them on their head.
Yeah.
And so like he is introduced as this like bully character, but then he ends up just being soft baby brother.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's so funny how quickly he goes from that to, like, I haven't heard from Reki in a day. I'm concerned something might have happened to him because he's very important to me, you know? Like,
Yes.
I will always, always, always love when a character is like, I'm too cool for this, and I don't need friends, and I am better than all of you. And then that gets torn down to like, no, actually, I cared a lot the whole time. I very much cared, and I'm only now admitting it. And
Yeah.
it's so good. Because literally everyone is just like, yeah, sure, bud, you're a super edgelord. We all get it. We've all seen Fight Club. Anyway, want to be best friends? And like, it's so good. It happens so quickly.
That's the best description of Mia and his arc. That's it.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so good. I love him.
He's great, yeah.
So good. And then, of course, we have Adam. Adam is our antagonist.
Oh, goodness.
He is drama king.
Adam is something else, man.
And he was taught how to skate by his friend and / servant.
Yeah, / like possibly escort, possibly valet for life. It is unclear.
It's very unclear.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Tadashi. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like they have a very bad, not healthy relationship.
It's not. It's definitely not. There's problems.
Because they like have a history, but also he's employed under Adam, and so that's weird.
Yeah, it's I think that's the only thing I genuinely don't enjoy is how like how complicated things are between them, and how like Adam really treated him badly for a long time, and he was gonna like have him take the fall for some illegal business stuff and get thrown in prison. And then he was like, no, I'm actually not going to do that because you are going to be my butler and chauffeur forever, and you can't get out of that or away from that. And Tadashi is like, oh, that's great. He's changed. He really does care. And I'm just like, I don't know about that.
Yikes.
They're bonkers.
Bonkers.
Do not know what to make of them. But yeah, Adam. Yeah, right.
But Adam is the drama king, and he started this big old fancy race because he just went kind of crazy with skating, and he was friends with Joe and Cherry and other people or whatever, but he really got into this bad like mindset of just like, I need to find the next great person to beat, and then he would and like beat them to a pulp, like, and you know, it ends up hurting them, and like, you know, it's just like, and that's why he's like so fascinated with Langa. He's like, finally, I found my Eve. And I'm like, oh, vomit.
This is too weird. Abort.
Not good.
Get me out of here. Yeah.
And because he's just looking for that, maybe that extra push, you know, to get to the zone and, you know, whatever.
Right.
All of that weirdness. And by the end, of course, the ending race with Langa, of course, both Langa and Reki in their races with him show him that it's about having fun.
Right.
And he like kind of, it's hard because it's like he doesn't super very clearly learn his lesson.
Yeah.
But he does become friends with everybody again. I don't know. There's something there, but honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't care. I don't care about Adam.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I don't need an explanation. Fair. I don't need an extra, you know, episode just about him and him resolving his issues, because I don't care. Just give me more Reki and Langa. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I think that's valid. They do go into quite a bit of like stuff about him when he was younger, and I think it is all meant to build up towards why he's so violent, right? Or at the very least, why he has such a twisted idea of what this whole S setup should be and what skating should be. Because you get things that do make him a bit more sympathetic, like how he is a super rich kid, but his family still treated him in a lot of bizarre ways, and like, yeah, he was kind of starting this relationship where he was genuinely friends with Tadashi, and he was supposed to like, oh, you aren't supposed to be friends with him. He's your servant. And, like, you can't learn skateboarding. We're going to destroy all your skateboards. Like,
yes.
That's bizarre. And,
like, his aunts are really abusive.
He has a secret cabal of ants who, like, run their whole business empire and, like, tell him what to do professionally. It's super weird, right? And none of that excuses putting people in the hospital. I want to make that absolutely clear. It's not like I'm saying, oh, poor baby. But you do get a little bit of backstory so that it makes a bit more sense why his current adult self dresses like an insane person and jumps out of helicopters and hits people in the face with wooden skateboards. Like, it makes a bit more sense, right? And I think that is also why it's so much harder for him to come back to the original thing of, like, skating is supposed to be fun. Skating is not supposed to end with bodily injuries. What a concept, right? It really, really takes him an awfully long time. And Joe and Cherry aren't able to get through to him. To a point, I don't think even Tadashi is able to get through to him.
No, not
because
at
all three of them kind of have this idea of, like, and I think this is an admirable idea. It's like, I'm going to choose to stop caring about him so much as a friend, and I'm going to focus on stopping him because we need to stop people getting hurt. Like full stop. And I get that, and I 100% respect that. But they can't do it because he's that insane of a skater. He's like, no one can actually beat him until Langa comes along and does change his heart and mind a little bit. Adam, I don't know what to make of him. Like, even with all of this, like, very, very, like, high and mighty analysis I'm doing, half the things he does and half the times he shows up, I'm still just like, who are you? Like, what is happening? right this second, as you are tap dancing on a skateboard, what is happening? Like, I'm so lost.
Oh no. Yeah. His whole like persona in S is like the matador of love. Yeah. And he's got the big cape and like the weird masks, and he's so over the top.
It's really incredible. It's the most dramatic character I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. I think I said this while I was watching it, but I'm going to say it again because I was very proud of it. He dresses like the Phantom of the Opera if it was a Bionicle character. Like, every part of his clothing has, like, spikes and, like, these crazy colors, and, like, they're all, like, different interlocking pieces, and he somehow ends up looking like a plastic action figure that, like, came to life and decided it wanted violence today. Like, it's so wild. But the other skaters are dressed up in crazy ways too, so it doesn't seem that out of place, you know?
It's true. It's amazing how not out of place it feels. When in reality it would be like you're in a mine at like 2 a.m. and you're dressed how?
Yeah. You guys are just like on the side of a deserted mountain, and you're going into like this weird abandoned factory where everything is rusted and is probably going to kill you if you touch it wrong. But you're dressed like you're at some kind of insane costume party. This is so wild.
Wild. Before we move on, there are two other characters I have to highlight, and they are Reki and Langa's moms.
Is their moms? Yes. I was hoping you'd say that. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Because I've got to highlight the animated moms when they are done well, and these two are the best moms. Like, Reki's mom is like always making sure everyone's fed, and she has a whole bunch of kids, and she's just like sweet and wonderful and perfect. And then Langa's mom, let's talk about Langa's mom. One of the best scenes in the entire show is Langa and his mom at dinner, and it's just them, you know. And Langa, you know, this is when Reki is like being sad, and Langa doesn't know what to do, and blah blah blah. And so, you know, you hear his mom's internal monologue about like, oh, my son is something's wrong. I don't know what to do. Yeah. And so she like starts trying to ask questions and whatever. And they get into this conversation that's like talking about someone and blah, blah, blah. And then Reki's mom is like, you should just tell her how you feel.
Yeah.
And then
he's like, let her know she's a lucky girl.
Then he's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
She totally thought he was talking about a girl, but
with that same deadpan, like, expressionless voice, he's just like, what girl? And they both go dead silent, and she's just like, what? It's so good.
It's so great. It's my favorite scene.
It's criminal how few scenes she gets, because she's one of the funniest and most heartwarming characters on the whole show.
Yes, because like Langa's mom is, she's working, she's raising her son on her own now, and she's like a little like all over the place. Like Langa is cooking dinner, Langa is doing a lot of things, and his mom is just kind of all over the place. But they both really care, and and his mom's like trying really hard to raise a teenager and like doesn't know what to do half the time, but really tries, and it's adorable.
And she just moved halfway across the world, and like shortly after her husband passed away, and like on top of all of that, she is also trying to make an effort to help Langa with relationship questions, and it's just so good. Absolutely, it's so good. MVP. Yeah.
Yes. So had to highlight them. We love them. Yeah. They're amazing.
Oh my goodness.
So before we get on to our favorite moments and favorite episodes, there are just two things I'd like to say that I wish were a little different. That would have made this, super great, top tier show even better.
Right.
Number one is the fact that there is all this weird political, random stuff happening with Adam and this police lady.
Yes.
And there's this whole thing going on, and she's trying to get him in trouble and find out what he's actually doing, because he has all the money, so he controls everyone. But then they kind of drop it. They don't offer any sort of real conclusion about it. They just kind of and it's done because we didn't have time to wrap that up or even dive into it at all. It's like they set this up and then they never actually do anything with it, which was weird.
This makes even less sense now that I know this wasn't based on manga, because she is ostensibly so important that she's in the intro sequence. But she has a bunch of scenes in the second half of the season where it's like, oh, she's closing in. She's gonna. I think they were gonna raid his house and look for some kind of evidence of all this fraud and stuff. And then at the end of the season, it's like, no, you're being removed from the case. We're just shutting it down. And she's like, oh, that sucks. And she looks as stymied and frustrated as we are watching this scene.
Yes. They completely just oh, we didn't have time to do anything with this, so we're just going to erase it. But it makes sense actually, because that it's not based on a manga, because here they're just creating an anime in regular production, and when they go off of the manga, that's when things can be bad in anime, right? And here they don't even have a manga. So to me, it sounds like they had this idea for this plot line and didn't have time for it, or realized that, it wasn't where they wanted the story to go. Personally, I do think that this show shines with the Langa and Reki relationships and that conflict, rather than some weird... Because everything with Adam and his political stuff and billionaire stuff, we don't care about that. As an audience, I don't think anyone cared about that.
Right.
But it still was just kind of weak when they built it up and then never.
And then it was suddenly gone. That was strange. Yeah.
That was definitely strange. Then my other I guess wish, and I wish it was just a little bit different. Because I know this is a gay anime, and so there are just going to be a lot of male characters. But there could have been at least one skater who is a girl. Because guess what? We never see a single girl on a skateboard. That is wrong. That's just flat wrong.
It feels like it would have been easy, yeah.
And it's the only thing that keeps this show from being a 10 out of 10 for me. Because how hard is it to make... Mia, or, I don't know, a shadow type character, a woman,
right.
just the fact that we have, what is it, 6 main characters who are skating constantly and none of them are females.
Yeah.
Like, or female identifying, like,
Right.
There's no excuse for that. Literally, the only female characters are all of the fangirls of Joey and Cherry, and then the one police lady who is an antagonist and is not even in it. Like, it really sucks. It really sucks.
There's one shot in the very final credits sequence where, like, Reki's sister does some skateboarding and she's shockingly good at it. And, like, that was funny, but it also feels like, are you including this just to, like, this is not what we wanted. You know that, right? Like, this is not... Like, you get to the big tournament near the end, and they have all of the, I think it starts with 8. It starts with all 8 skaters up on the screen. And, like, they even added a couple of more characters to this tournament. And you're just like, no, that's still just 8 dudes. Like,
it's 8 guys. They couldn't put, like, a background female character?
Right.
Goodness, that's bad. And I don't know anything about skating culture. I don't know anything, less than anything about skating culture in Japan. But there have got to be females on skateboards in Japan. That's just...
it would be shocking if there's somehow a 0 number of that.
Yeah.
Like, I doubt it. Yeah.
So this feels like a huge detriment, and really sucks.
Right.
There is a new anime project announced for Sk8 the Infinity. I don't know what that entails, but there is going to be another anime project. So whether that's a second season or a spin-off anime or whatever, there's something in the works, and I hope that they don't make that same mistake again, because I will be even more upset. Because even because my one excuse, I guess, is that it is a gay anime, and I feel like sometimes they're just like, here are all the guys,
right.
But even in other, even Yuri on Ice had lots of female characters.
Yeah.
And even sports anime, right? Like Haikyuu, it's a men's, high school volleyball team. So obviously most of them are men, but they still have their managers are girls. Like there are still other female characters. We don't have, besides their moms, which their moms are wonderful. We don't have anyone on a skate. I need to see a female on a skateboard in the next project, or I will be calling someone.
I'll be writing letters, yeah.
Speaking poor Japanese, saying, this sucks.
Yeah, it kind of does seem like a big missed opportunity, especially for like the current time period we're in, where you're making up an original story. It feels like that's surprising.
Like this isn't a missed opportunity. This is actively choosing not to include females on a skateboard. Like, how can you? Yeah. So I don't want to be too down, because we do really love this show. I still really, really love it. But it's something that has taken me out of the experience several times, and has kept me from enjoying it as much as I could be enjoying it. Because I do love these characters and I love this story, but it does pull me out of the world sometimes when I'm just like, ugh, like all of the females are just googling over Joe and Cherry, and I'm like, wow, is that all we are? Thanks.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but I am going to be truthful about that. So to bring the energy back up, let's talk about the things we do like, because of course there are a lot of things that we love about this show. So what are some of your favorite moments in the show?
Well, I've been thinking about it, and 2 come to mind. One of them is cheating a little bit, because it's just the whole overarching... We talked about Reki and Langa's relationship in the serious way, and now I want to talk about it in the silly way, because the moments that are both written in and also voice acted in of being just so flirtatious are so funny to me. They have a secret fist bump handshake that ends with like the very, very gentle, like softly touching their hands together, but they still talk about it as if it's like, yeah, this is a totally non-homosexual way of doing this. Yeah. And like, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the most memed online in the entire show, which is when Langa is watching that video of Reki like doing tricks and falling over and being just dorky, and the line is, "My love of skateboarding is because of you." But what he says is, "Reki, my love, pause, wait, of skateboarding is because of you." It's so goofy. I just absolutely love it.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great.
Does it make me wonder a little bit, why not just make them gay and make that, you could just have that be a part of the story? But also, I'm used to it, so I feel like my expectations are usually quite low for that, so...
That doesn't, just because, you're used to it, doesn't mean that they need to keep the status quo.
Right? Thank you.
I mean, Yuri on Ice was like 5 years ago.
It was?
The door has been shot wide open, I thought. I figured people would be allowed to... Come on. Producers in Japan, help us out.
Sorry, that just really... I did not realize it's been 5... I was going to say it'd been like 2 years or something, but wow.
2016, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Anyways, we're old.
Yeah, anyway.
It's fine.
We are. We absolutely are. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those instances for sure. I agree, where it's like this. You could have just been honest about it, because this is very clearly gay.
Right. Right. There are some conversations where they're talking about their feelings and how much they mean to each other. Where I think I might have wrote this to you. Like, this is more gay than if he had said "I love you" romantically. Like, this is more than that. It's so passionate, and it is so like, and obviously platonic relationships among guys are fantastic and need to be represented more. Obviously that is the case, but when you have two people talking to each other and about each other with this much passion and this much, it feels romantic, and there's no reason to like play that up so much and then insist, nah, they're totally straight. Like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That basically sums it up.
Yeah. At least they don't do the thing. And this was a little bit annoying for me in Haikyuu, for example, but they don't do the thing where every so often they have all of the male characters just like have one scene where they all stand around and they're like, "Boy, I sure do like girls. Y'all want to talk about how much we like girls?" Yeah, we're very straight. Like, at least they don't do that, which is kind of nice.
That's true. There is that one scene on the ferry where Reki is like, "Oh, that cute girl."
Oh, yeah.
But what's great about it is that Langa is not fazed, and Reki tries to go talk to her, and it doesn't go well.
I can't be too upset about that one, because that was really, really funny. Oh my gosh, what does he say? He introduces himself with the goofiest line ever. I think he just walks up to her and he's like, "Hey, I'm pretty good at skateboarding," and then she just like walks away.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so great. But again, Langa is just this is the other thing about Langa, is like he's kind of an idiot. I mean, they're all idiots.
Yeah.
But like Langa's typical like trope character would be the really smart one. And
because he's always calm and analyzing things and like being very careful. But not so much. Nope. No.
He's just like, "Oh, cliff, let's jump.
Let's go up the cliff."
Yeah. And
oh my gosh.
He's just like, it's empty up there.
Yeah. No thoughts.
And that's one of those scenes like when Reki tries to talk to the girl and he's just like, nope. Oblivious to everything going on. It's so great. I really love that. That whole episode is the beach episode. Of course, this anime has a beach episode. And it's so perfect and wonderful. And like Reki has a broken wrist and is, taking a vacation.
We need to take time so we can heal. And of course, he's jumping everywhere. He's trying to skate in the most dangerous ways. Like, it's absolutely preposterous. I love it.
And Shadow is carrying everyone's luggage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Lord.
Langa, again, I just love Langa. Like, he's like, the ocean. And it's just like
That's right.
a
Yeah.
little kid, like, oh my gosh, it's the ocean.
But yeah.
And is just super excited about it, which is so cute.
He's never been to a beach, so he doesn't take any kind of precautions and ends up like passing out from heat exhaustion immediately. So of course it just cuts to like Reki and Mia awkwardly sitting under an umbrella, like holding ice packs over every part of his body.
Oh, and my other favorite scene in that episode is Joe, of course, is like trying to hit on girls, and everyone else is like, ugh, rolling their eyes that Joe is over there, right?
They're so tired of it, yeah.
So tired of it. And then they're like, what do we do? And then Mia just walks up to them and the girls and Tim, and he's just like, Daddy, Mom's gonna get mad. And of course, the girls are like, what? And Joe is like, go away. And Mia's just pretending to be this little, kid.
Oh my gosh.
And then he's pointing to quote unquote mom.
Yeah.
And they like do the slow pan of like the beach, and it's like the legs and they go up, and then it's Cherry.
Of course it's Cherry, yeah. And like the long hair and like the shot has like the light around the edges, like the super romantic thing, and Joe is just so confused. But like, okay, y'all, if you couldn't guess, this was gonna be my second favorite scene that I wanted to talk about. This scene is so... I think I've watched this scene on its own like 10 times. It's so good. It starts with them trying to decide, how are we going to mess with Joe, right? And Shadow's idea is, I'm just going to go over there and tell him to knock it off. And they're like, no, that's not going to work, and here's why. And then they acted out of Reki pretending to be the girls and Langa being Joe. So Reki's like, Joe, this big man is over here and he scares me. And he like gives him this big arms open hug. And Langa is just has no idea what he's doing.
No idea.
So he has to like shake him, and he's like, Joe, are you listening? He's the big man. He scares me. And then Langa finally figures it out, and he's like, don't worry, Bae, I'll protect you. So we've got that going on. That's already pretty funny. But then Mia, so he is really young, but also he makes himself look even younger by like curling up and being like, oh no, mommy said she's gonna kill you. And like, the best part of this is that Joe is so flustered that he doesn't even say, like, what are you doing, or you're totally wrong, or anything like that. He says, that's not your mom, which, like, doesn't help his case at all, because it makes it look like he still does have a kid.
Yes.
So, of course, the two girls are like, this is way too weird, we're out of here. And there's this absolutely perfect moment of Joe, like, dramatically reaching towards them as they walk away, and he just whispers, Señoritas. And then they're just gone, and that's the end of the scene.
Again, the English dub. Everyone gets an Oscar.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm such a fan.
Because I originally watched this week to week when it was coming out, and it was just subbed. And so rewatching it English dub, I'm telling you, is a completely different experience. Because it's just like, oh, they were given free reign on this.
Oh, yeah. 100%. It's so
gold.
Wild.
Gold.
Oh, before I forget, can we just talk about the opening and ending quick?
Oh, yes, please. Thank you for mentioning it, because they're both amazing.
Okay. I'm me personally, I'm going to go with the opening first. So, I wanted to open this episode with, instead of just saying normal things like, yeah, we're talking about Sk8 the Infinity, I was just going to be like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. But, the opening is so fun because it's, well, first of all, the song slaps, right? It's objectively a great song, and I love it a lot. The style is very, it just seems to fit really well with, like, this kind of punk skating aesthetic. It feels like a Japanese pop band's version of, like, a song in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or something. But, what's actually happening in the animation, especially, like, the first 12 seconds or whatever, it's so good, because Reki has set up a video camera, and I can only assume he's telling Langa inaudibly, like, no, this is going to be super cool. Just stand on your skateboard and then do like a weird little arm pumping dance. It's going to look great. It's not going to look silly at all. Trust me, I promise. And they're both just doing this weird little thing. And like, of course, after that, it actually goes into the more expected opening where it's like everything's moving and you see all the characters and they're all skating and they're all doing all this crazy stuff. But that first bit is so funny to me, and I don't know even exactly why. Something about it is just very, very... It just makes me smile in such a silly way. I always watch that intro because it's really fun.
I always watch the intro and the outro. It's such a fun intro. It's like it's just like fun and like crazy and I don't know anything about skating culture. I got this from a different YouTube video that I was watching that was basically analyzing this opening and just talking about Sk8 the Infinity in general, because the opening especially is filmed like a lot of old school skating videos.
Yeah,
like
that makes sense.
They use a lot of the cinematography from like the 80s, 90s that are like
right.
old school skater style, like skater documentaries. And
it looks like there's a person following behind them also skating, holding a like handheld camera. Yeah. That's a good point. I hadn't actually thought of that. Yeah,
it's so cool. I'm sure there's so many little facts and things that I heard, just like how deeply passionate the creators were and are about skating. And so there's got to be tons of Easter eggs that I don't know about because like I don't know anything about any of this. But yeah, the opening is really, really great. The ending is like happy, fun, chill vibes. I purchased the song because I listened to it on repeat because I love it. And best part, this is okay. If you go and listen to our top 10 anime endings, this is one of mine. Spoiler alert, because it's just a series of like shots of all of the main characters completely eating the pavement in hilarious different ways.
Yeah, everyone, the protagonists, the bad guys, the side characters, everyone, like, because they make a point to tell you like that happens all the time when you're learning how to skateboard. They don't show it a ton in the show because we've got other story stuff to get to, right? But it does happen constantly with real skating, and you just kind of learn from it and accept that it will keep happening. So like to have that be every single ending is so good.
So good. My favorite is Langa's because he's just going down a half pipe and like the skateboard has like fallen out from under him. He's just falling straight down, and of course, in his Langa fashion, his face is completely straight faced, like, well, here I go.
His expression changes a little bit, but it actually becomes like more resigned. Like, yeah, this is my fate. I accept what's happening. Yeah, there's no point in trying to stop it.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh man, I'm a big fan.
Top tier openings and endings right there.
I love the one for Adam because in every episode except I think the last two, when he's about to fall, Tadashi covers up the screen and says no pictures.
Yeah.
Because he's too rich and important to be seen failing. Yeah.
Falling, yeah. Oh,
and then in the last ones, Tadashi actually catches him, which, for all of their issues, it's kind of a nice moment. Like, I'm not going to begrudge cute, that. Yeah.
All right, we'll allow it.
At the end of the ending, that's a phrase. Reki and Langa both stand up, and like it should be this really nice moment of them like reaching out and taking each other's hands, like we're gonna keep going on into the future. But they're both so beat up and like covered in dirt and scrapes that it just looks more like, oh my, we're so tired. We're so tired. Like neither of them are smiling. They're both miserable, and they just like awkwardly shuffle away in defeat.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It is a great song. I don't want to gloss over that. It's a really, really wonderful, laid back, like, there's this key change moment I absolutely love. It just fits so well with the dancing palm trees at the beginning to give you this very, very relaxed feeling. Oh my goodness, I'm a big fan.
I mean, I'm just a big fan of this show. It's so fun. For its few faults, it still is really, really great. And, it's just fun. It is fun. It's about fun, and it is fun. And it's doing a lot of interesting things with the genre of sports anime and just, general tropes and switching things up. And if they want to be a little more progressive, they could very easily. So
do it. It'd be so easy. Please.
Do it. Please. So I highly recommend everyone give it a watch, even if you've listened to this entire episode, because you have not experienced it until you have watched it. There's a lot to see.
If you guys only listen to this episode, you don't even know about the You don't even know about the ghost haunting the resort. You need to watch the show to figure out what on earth I'm talking about.
Wahaha.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, could easily be my favorite new anime of the year. And it's real, it's real and chill and fun, and having fun is more important than being successful. And being the best, and that's just totally turns sports anime on its head.
that is pretty. Now that you put it that way, that is a pretty bold thing to say for a genre that's usually about I will never stop getting better, and I will be the best person in the world at my thing. That is kind of shocking. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's definitely. When this show straight up says the most important thing is that you enjoy what you're doing and you build your passion around that instead of mistakenly trying to be the best or never fail or anything like that. When the show says that, it definitely didn't make me seriously reevaluate what I'm doing with my life and make me reconsider my attitudes towards art. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's a lot in this show that's relatable to anyone, who's, gone through, basically any sort of competitive anything.
Right? Yeah.
It's very relatable and has a lot to say. So, and it's fun, and it's funny, and it's hilarious. And these characters are my pride and joy.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you guys so much for listening. To hear more bonus episodes and vote for upcoming episode topics, you can go to patreon.com/Fanimated and become a member of the Fanimated crew there. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Fanimated Podcast. Stay up to date with all things animated. And don't forget to leave a rating and review telling us what we should be watching next. Our music is officially written by Jamie Krause.
Oh no, this is weird. I wasn't expecting this.
I no longer have to say Purple Planet music.
Right.
So thank you, Jamie Krause, for our music. The art is done by myself, and you can find me on Instagram at CandorDraw. Jamie, where can they find you?
You can find me at a different podcast called Knight's Quest. Knight spelled with a K, like knights and wizards and such. It is a fantasy role-playing podcast with a very heavy emphasis on comedy and improv, so we're making up the stories we go. It's pretty silly. A lot of crazy stuff happens. We're in our 3rd season right now, and I write all of the music for that show, as well as playing one of the characters. That can be found wherever podcasts are available. That's what I meant to say. And it's a really good time, and we have a lot of fun with it, and it does use not suitable for work language. I always want to make sure I don't forget that. Yeah, check it out if you're in the mood for goofy D&D style adventure role-playing podcasts.
It's a lot of fun. Highly, highly recommend. So thank you, Jamie, for joining me today.
Of course.
And we're in the middle of our September celebration. Fanimated has its anniversary this month. It's the 3rd anniversary, which is crazy. To me, it's crazy. And so we'll be back next week with more Fanimated goodness. And there'll be lots of other fun episodes coming up. Until then, stay tuned.
And stay animated. I wrote this down in my notes, and I'm sure it was at like 3 in the morning, right? In terms of gay anime, Yuri on Ice is like the stand-up, wonderful beacon of inspiration, standing tall for everyone to see, right? And while everyone is distracted by that, Sk8 the Infinity is like this cackling little goblin that just runs around pulling everybody's pants down.